Wars are not decided only on the battlefield, but also by strategies that disrupt military logistics. The recent attack on the Crimean Bridge, a 12-mile bridge connecting Russia to the Crimean Peninsula, was one of the most devastating blows to the Russian military's supply lines since 2022. Not only did it cost lives, it also undermined Russia's ability to maintain a military presence in southern Ukraine, raising questions about what the regional conflict will look like next. The Crimean Bridge has been highlighted by military analysts as the main logistical artery for Russian forces operating in southern Ukraine. According to Pavlo Lakichuk, a military expert at Strategy 21, the bridge plays a vital role in transporting heavy equipment, ammunition, and essential military resources. The attack on the bridge was a carefully planned strategy, targeting a key logistics hub for the Russian Black Sea Fleet and the supply chain for the occupying forces in southern Ukraine. Military analyst Mikhailo Prytula said the strategy was to completely isolate the Crimean Peninsula, making it increasingly difficult for Russia to maintain a military presence in the region. The destruction of the bridge has caused serious challenges for Russia's supply chain. Moscow has been forced to divert military supplies through occupied territories, along the Sea of Azov, and to rely more heavily on alternative routes, such as sea ferries, which are only capable of handling less than 25% of the total cargo. This has also led to temporary disruptions in ammunition and fuel shipments. George Barros, of the Institute for the Study of War, notes that if the bridge is severely damaged, Russia will have only one land supply route left, the Azov Coastal Highway. In addition to its strategic value, the Crimean Bridge also has a deeply symbolic meaning. Built for $6 billion and the longest bridge in Europe, it was a personal project of Russian President Vladimir Putin to assert Russia's claim to Crimea. However, according to analyst Dmytro Pletenchuk, the strategic value of the bridge has diminished, with recent satellite imagery showing very little military traffic across the bridge. The fragility of the Crimean bridge structure has exposed weaknesses in Russia's defenses. Experts point out that the damage to the bridge created a 6-hour gap in the supply chain, giving Ukraine a significant tactical advantage. At the same time, the attack forced the Russian authorities to increase fortification measures across the peninsula, turning Crimea into a frontline area. This not only reflects a loss of defense capabilities, but also poses new challenges for the Russian military. A key factor in the attack was the remarkable progress in maritime drone technology. The attack on the Crimean Bridge in July 2023 demonstrated the ability to use the Sea Baby maritime drone with great precision and effectiveness. Ukrainian forces launched 2 drone attacks at around 3:04 a.m. and 3:20 a.m. Eastern European time, demonstrating a growing sophistication in long-range attack tactics that make it difficult for Russian defense systems to respond in time. The Sea Baby maritime drones, with a maximum speed of up to 90 km and an operational range exceeding 1,000 km, are capable of carrying an explosive payload of up to 850 km. These characteristics, along with advanced ballistic programming capabilities, enable them to reach their targets with precision. The drones have demonstrated their ability to overcome Russian defense systems, demonstrating significant effectiveness in penetrating protected maritime zones. The specific target of the attack was the 145th pillar of the bridge, located on the Ukrainian side of the international border. Structural assessments show that the bridge spans collapsed completely in both attacks, revealing fundamental weaknesses in the supporting structure. The displacement of the support piers under the spans contributed to this type of damage. Despite the severe damage to the road surface, the main piers of the bridge remained in place. 2 of the 4 lanes on the bridge were completely destroyed, while the adjacent span was displaced but remained on its piers. Compared to the previous attack in October 2022, this new attack was significantly more precise and sophisticated. While the previous attack featured a combination of effects, including the possible use of thermite to set fuel tankers on fire, the recent attack represents a marked improvement in tactics. The effectiveness of these maritime drones has prompted the Russian military to deploy new defensive measures, including the installation of parallel structures, protection systems, and underground barriers. However, environmental factors have undermined these measures, as severe storms in the Black Sea have rendered many of the protective structures ineffective. Ukraine's maritime technological advancements have also been demonstrated by the integration of redundant communication systems, which have overcome the weaknesses of previous reliance on external satellite networks. This marks a major shift in autonomous maritime operations, especially in the context of asymmetric warfare. Following the attacks on the Crimean Bridge, the Russian authorities implemented strict protection measures under the direct orders of President Putin. Initially, the president gave the Russian Federal Security Service, FSB, full control over the protection of the bridge. The FSB was given the authority to coordinate protection measures for both the transport route and the energy infrastructure connecting Russia to Crimea. Immediately, Russian forces deployed multiple layers of protection around the Kerch Bridge. The current defense system includes Panzer S-1 and S-300 air defense systems. Panzer S-1 systems are capable of operating at ranges of up to 20 kilometers and altitudes of up to 15 kilometers, working in tandem with advanced radar technology that can detect threats from up to 36 kilometers away. To counter the fragility of the bridge, Moscow has accelerated the construction of a new 50-mile rail line connecting existing rail lines in occupied eastern and southern Ukraine. The alternative route would essentially shorten the travel time between Russia and Mariupol, cutting the journey time by several weeks. The rail infrastructure is capable of maintaining supply lines in the region even if the Crimean Bridge was destroyed. Russia has also strategically reallocated its military assets. One of its first moves was to move some air defense systems from northwestern Crimea to the bridge area. At the same time, authorities have established new transport routes, including reducing the number of trains crossing the bridge from 46 per day to 5, operating at night to reduce the likelihood of detection, and deploying trained dolphins to provide underwater protection. In addition, reflector radars and smoke generators have been installed as part of the protective measures. Russian forces also maintain alternative sea routes through the Kerch Strait. Although recent Ukrainian attacks have damaged ferry terminals, the Russian military continues to adjust its logistics network. Military analysts say these adjustments, while still operational, face ongoing challenges from Ukraine's long-range strike capabilities. Russian authorities have also stepped up ground security procedures. The FSB has implemented comprehensive vehicle checks, although this has caused significant delays. These measures have been implemented in parallel with increased patrols by Rosgvardia, the Russian National Guard. Military planners expect these combined security measures to remain in place indefinitely, reflecting the long-term strategic importance of the bridge. This tense situation has contributed to the increasing challenges facing Russian military operations in southern Ukraine. Repeated attacks on key supply routes have severely disrupted logistics. The Russian military group of forces, with 470,000 troops stationed in the occupied territories, is currently struggling with fundamental logistical and operational problems. Russian forces face serious logistical problems across southern Ukraine. Military logistics units are operating under increased pressure, largely due to the need to move key logistics junctions further away from the front lines. The Russian military's basic supply support and maintenance systems are under severe strain, with critical shortages of essential resources such as ammunition and fuel. This situation has forced the Russian military to make significant logistical adaptations. Supply depots have been moved outside their usual operational areas. The distribution system for essential resources has been simplified, and ammunition delivery patterns have been changed, affecting the combat capabilities of artillery. The impact of these logistical problems on the Russian military's combat capabilities is reflected in a variety of indicators. Russian military units are now often rotated after suffering losses of up to 30% of their personnel, at which point they are considered no longer combat ready. Military analysts say that the Russian military is now limited to small-scale tactical attacks rather than large-scale offensive operations. The combat readiness of the Russian military is also under additional strain from the quality of its personnel. Recent recruitment efforts have shown that the average age of volunteers has increased from 40 to 50 years old. In addition, the Russian military now relies heavily on inexperienced personnel, including sailors transferred from naval service to land combat roles. The mobility of Russian forces is also significantly limited in southern Ukraine. Russian battalions are now required to occupy combat zones that were once assigned to brigades, reflecting a severe dispersion of forces. The need to maintain these dispersed positions has radically changed Russia's defensive tactics. Military experts observe that the Russian military rarely deploys concentrated armored and infantry formations. Instead, it increasingly relies on artillery support to compensate for its limited mobility. This change in tactics reflects both adaptation to Ukrainian capabilities and a recognition of the need to conserve forces. The Russian military currently faces significant manpower constraints, although Russia has set a goal of increasing the size of its armed forces to 1.5 million. This goal has so far been elusive. However, Russian military recruiters have achieved about 85% of their recruitment targets for the campaign in Ukraine, demonstrating a continued effort to maintain a fighting force despite difficult operating conditions. Meanwhile, Ukraine has succeeded in meticulously dismantling Russia's military capabilities in Crimea, marking a decisive change in the dynamics of the conflict. Military experts highlight Ukraine's remarkable success in neutralizing Russia's advantages through sophisticated strategy and innovative tactics. Ukraine's rapid development has created clear strategic advantages, leaving Russian forces facing major challenges in maintaining military superiority in the region. According to Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, former commander of U.S. forces in Europe, Ukraine adopted a systematic approach to weakening Russian positions. Ukrainian forces succeeded in neutralizing 5 major airfields and repeatedly attacked Sevastopol, forcing the Black Sea Fleet to abandon its main base. This success was largely due to Ukraine's ability to quickly integrate new equipment and deploy it with devastating effects. Ukraine's strategic victory created several significant tactical advantages. First, Ukraine established dominance in the northwestern Black Sea and systematically destroyed Russian air defense systems. At the same time, Ukraine has created alternative maritime corridors and improved its long-range strike capabilities. These achievements have completely changed the military operational landscape, as Ukraine has succeeded in opening a maritime humanitarian corridor along its coast, protected by the naval forces of NATO member states, with 32 ships completing grain shipments. In addition, Ukrainian forces have demonstrated incredible efficiency in destroying Russian anti-aircraft missile facilities. The strategic implications of these victories are not limited to immediate tactical advantages. Military analyst Oleksandr Musienko points to 2 main goals: establishing dominance in the Black Sea and weakening Russian logistics near Tokmak and Melitopol. In particular, these operations complement Ukraine's broader counter-offensive strategy in the south. Ukraine's growing capabilities pose a major challenge to Russian forces. The Ukrainian military has demonstrated its prowess in developing sophisticated, homemade maritime drones. This technological advance, combined with Western-supplied cruise missiles, has limited Russia's ability to maneuver in the Black Sea. The resistance movement within Crimea has emerged as an unexpected strategic advantage. Reports indicate significant participation from local populations, including women, who have been involved in high-risk activities such as railway sabotage and intelligence gathering. This internal resistance has added a layer of strategic depth to Ukraine. Looking ahead, military experts predict that Ukraine's capabilities will be enhanced as the F-16s arrive. These aircraft will enable more extensive air operations against Russia's remaining military infrastructure in Crimea. As a result, Ukraine's position continues to strengthen, with each successful operation creating new opportunities for further offensives. Meanwhile, the development of infrastructure warfare has fundamentally changed the landscape of modern military operations, shifting the focus from traditional battlefield engagements to strategic strikes against critical systems. The Defense Information Network now manages operations in 42 countries with approximately 19,000 personnel, reflecting the growing scale of infrastructure warfare. This shift not only enhances the combat capabilities of forces, but also expands the strategic attack on critical targets in the modern warfare environment. Modern military tactics have evolved beyond conventional battles, which were primarily focused on disrupting critical services and command structures. The emergence of fourth-generation warfare has emphasized non-linear tactics, targeting social, cultural, and economic targets. Military strategists recognize that attacks on infrastructure can achieve strategic objectives without direct military confrontation. Critical sectors facing increased threats include power distribution networks, transportation systems, communications infrastructure, water treatment facilities, and financial systems. Attacks on infrastructure have become more sophisticated, with adversaries developing multi-layered attack methods to disrupt critical services. These attacks typically aim to disrupt an adversary's capabilities from within, attacking both physical and virtual assets. Military analysts report that infrastructure damage costs nations $56 billion each year in identity fraud alone. The Defense Information Systems Agency, DISA, has identified China as a key strategic threat, changing its organizational structure to address these new challenges. Attacks often target multiple interconnected systems, creating cascading failures that amplify the initial impact. Military experts note that attacks on infrastructure have evolved to include sophisticated cyber capabilities, as attackers exploit vulnerabilities in both the physical and digital domains. Traditional defense technologies have undergone significant changes to address evolving threats. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has developed comprehensive strategies that incorporate artificial intelligence to enhance protection. Military planners have deployed advanced defenses, including integrating multiple layers of defense. The U.S. government has initiated programs focused on post-quantum cryptographic algorithms to counter advanced computing capabilities. These defenses often incorporate sophisticated surveillance systems that can detect and respond to threats across multiple infrastructure domains. Military experts emphasize that protecting critical infrastructure requires coordination among federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial entities. As such, defense strategies now include public-private partnerships, especially in protecting energy infrastructure. These collaborative efforts are now focused on developing AI-based cybersecurity tools for vulnerability detection and threat detection. The rise of infrastructure warfare has prompted significant changes in military doctrine. In general, modern defense strategies prioritize establishing minimum resilience requirements and implementing robust accountability mechanisms. Military planners recognize that successful infrastructure protection requires a comprehensive understanding of the interdependencies between different domains and the ripple effects of attacks on critical targets. The destruction of the Crimean Bridge has sparked significant shifts in the international security landscape, prompting NATO to bolster its support for Ukraine's territorial defense. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has reaffirmed the alliance's unwavering commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty, underscoring the successful erosion of Russia's Black Sea Fleet capabilities, which has had a profound impact on regional security dynamics. NATO military experts highlight the strategic implications of Ukraine's successful bridge attacks. These actions showcase Ukraine's growing capability to conduct sophisticated military operations, fundamentally altering the strategic calculus in the region. NATO's response has been swift and comprehensive, including the provision of over $100 billion in humanitarian and military support, deployment of additional air defense systems, enhanced protection protocols for critical infrastructure, and increased maritime surveillance operations. This robust support signals NATO's steadfast solidarity with Ukraine in its defense of sovereignty and territorial integrity. The regional power dynamics have undergone a significant transformation in response to the bridge attacks. Russia's reaction has been to form a regional forces group with Belarus, a move that reflects a broader realignment of military partnerships. This arrangement allows Belarus to protect Russian troops and equipment stationed on its territory without direct involvement in Ukraine operations. The shift in power balance goes beyond military strategy. Russia's missile attacks on civilian infrastructure in retaliation have prompted strong international responses, accelerating Western support for Ukraine's air defense capabilities. The Black Sea region has seen a dramatic change in its maritime security landscape. While Russia once maintained dominant control over these waters, Ukrainian operations have successfully challenged this supremacy. The Russian Black Sea Fleet, a major asset providing regional influence, has had to make substantial operational adjustments. Key developments include a reduction in Russian naval operations from Crimean ports, the establishment of new maritime corridors, enhanced international monitoring of Black Sea activities, and the implementation of sophisticated defensive measures. These shifts have not only altered military deployments, but also affected regional maritime trade patterns. The Russian Navy now faces significant threats from maritime drones, prompting extensive protective measures around its remaining vessels. Adaptations such as painting warship bows and sterns in dark colors and constructing additional port defenses reflect Russia's increasing focus on safeguarding its naval assets. The international security community is acutely aware of the broader implications of these developments in the Black Sea. Analysts note a significant decline in Russia's naval power projection. which has prompted NATO to update its critical infrastructure protection protocols and strengthen cyber defense capabilities. These changes mark a decisive moment in the ongoing conflict, with NATO continuing to reinforce its strategic support for Ukraine and the broader security interests in the region. Modern military planners recognize the growing need for enhanced infrastructure protection in light of evolving threats. The Department of Defense, DoD, has initiated comprehensive strategies to safeguard critical assets, investing over $100 billion in protective measures. These investments are part of a broader effort to ensure the resilience and security of vital infrastructure across the globe, with a particular focus on adapting to the increasingly complex threat landscape. A key element of the DoD's infrastructure protection strategy is the establishment of multi-domain resiliency zones at military installations in 42 countries. These zones are designed to create modular, layered defense systems that can respond dynamically to attacks across multiple domains. By implementing MDRZ, the DoD aims to establish strategic isolation points, enabling rapid recovery and continued mission operations even in the face of disruption. The MDRZ concept combines adaptive islanding with multi-domain operations, ensuring that military assets remain operational despite external threats. The Department of Defense has outlined 6 essential initiatives for protecting critical infrastructure, including enhancing deterrence in the Indo-Pacific through munitions and submarine production, strengthening industrial cybersecurity protocols, expanding allied industrial collaboration, modernizing capabilities, creating flexible acquisition pathways, and reinforcing intellectual property protection. These initiatives are aimed at fortifying not only the military's physical infrastructure, but also its technological and industrial foundations. A particularly crucial element in modern defense is the rise of advanced counter-drone technology, which plays a pivotal role in infrastructure protection. These systems incorporate sophisticated detection and neutralization capabilities that rely on non-kinetic approaches. Using radio frequency sensors, artificial intelligence, and advanced tracking mechanisms, counter-drone platforms can detect threats from distances up to 36 kilometers and engage them at ranges of up to 20 kilometers. These systems are built with multiple integrated components, such as high-precision tracking capabilities, rapid source identification mechanisms, and real-time alert systems, ensuring that military forces can neutralize drone threats swiftly and effectively. As threats become increasingly diverse, military experts stress the importance of agile and adaptable counter-drone systems. These systems are designed to protect against a range of threats, from miniaturized drones to complex swarm attacks. By integrating advanced sensors and RF technology, these systems can identify and neutralize threats at considerable distances, which is particularly important in environments where safety, precision, and rapid response are critical. The evolving threat environment has also driven significant military adaptations, with defense organizations focusing on creating pockets of resilience across installations. These adaptations include enhanced protection protocols, such as the implementation of quantum cryptographic algorithms, AI-based vulnerability detection systems, and advanced sensor networks. Additionally, military organizations are evolving their structures by forming specialized cyber defense units, establishing rapid response teams, and creating dedicated infrastructure protection divisions to respond to the growing complexity of threats. Resource allocation has also become a priority in military adaptation, with a focus on critical infrastructure assessment, investment in advanced defensive technologies, and the development of specialized training programs. Protection of critical infrastructure now requires coordinated efforts across federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial entities to ensure resilience and minimize the cascading effects of targeted attacks. In response to these challenges, the DoD emphasizes the importance of flexible acquisition pathways, allowing for the rapid integration of emerging technologies and innovative defense solutions. This approach enables the defense sector to stay ahead of evolving threats, particularly in urban environments where critical infrastructure and airspace congestion pose unique challenges. Collaborations between military, government, and private entities have also led to breakthrough developments in protective technologies, highlighting the critical role of public-private partnerships in advancing defense capabilities. Ultimately, the Department of Defense's infrastructure protection strategy is about building resilient systems that can withstand diverse attack vectors while ensuring operational continuity. The focus on adaptability, advanced technologies, and cross-sector collaboration ensures that military infrastructure remains secure and capable of responding effectively to the rapidly changing landscape of modern warfare. These developments highlight the critical importance of protecting vital infrastructure in modern conflicts. Military experts emphasize that successful defense requires comprehensive coordination between multiple entities and continuous adaptation to emerging threats. If you support Ukraine to win this war, please comment number 1 in the comment section below to let us know. Therefore, the Crimean Bridge attack stands as a testament to the evolving nature of warfare, where strategic infrastructure targeting can achieve significant military objectives without direct battlefield confrontation. This transformation demands new approaches to defense, pushing military organizations worldwide to reimagine their protective measures and operational strategies.